I was born in Cairo, Egypt. Grew up in Cairo, and when I was very young, we moved to me and my family. My family moved to Vancouver, so that's kind of where we moved for a while, and then they decided to move back to Cairo to be close to other family members. So yeah, so I grew up in Cairo, and I never left till I was like 19 or 20 years old. And all I knew was like Cairo and the coast, and nothing else really. Yeah, I was just following this sort of traditional life of me, going to school, just going to school, then going to college, getting just having a girlfriend, some friends, which was cool. But I always wanted something more. I was never like really happy. I always felt like there's something I'm not doing right or something I'm missing. So eventually, after I finished college, had a awesome girlfriend back then, and then eventually I got a job in advertising, and I got a job with a really good company, and but then like I was still unsatisfied. I was still looking for more, and then then I decided to move to New York. I got my master's here in New York. I got a great job with a great financial organization. It was a great time. It was a culture shock for me. A guy that lived in North Africa all his life, coming to New York where everyone's so open-minded. It's so different, and I grew up in a very alternative or like a very open-minded house. And I'm very grateful, but like coming to New York, it was like on a whole different level, a level I had never expected. So like something like open relationships, I'd be like, what the fuck are open relationships? I had no idea. But yeah, like I was just adapting to the culture. I was learning more, and it was just an awesome experience. The first year, it was also very lonely. It's a very hard city to break into, and I'm pretty sure all their cities are the same thing too. But New York is kind of special in that way, where you like find. I kind of found myself here. I found what I wanted to do through this city, through my loneliness, and just taking the time, or like even just being forced to just do my thing and find out what I want to do, because I'm just not doing anything. I'm alone. So that's when I was in finance. I had some people I knew, but I wouldn't call them friends. But yeah, eventually I wasn't happy. I was okay. I could do this for the rest of my life, but I would probably eventually, commit suicide or something. It's just nothing I can. It's not a lifestyle I can sustain. So I bought a DSLR camera and started taking photographs of New York City, the Empire State Building, the Grand Central, all that shit. And it was exciting to go back home, see the photographs, and share them with people and see what people thought of them. And it was an outlet for me to like just express. Even back then, like even if the photograph wasn't like a portrait of someone, it was just a form of expression for me. Like even if it was like a memory, or if it meant something personal to me, a moment I wanted to remember, whatever. So it was just a way for me to, express that. So I got into photography a bit, and put a bunch of ads on Craigslist and be like, I'm a professional photographer. And I didn't even know how to set focus, like manual focus. I would just throw myself in the water, without even knowing how to swim. And I actually got a few shoots. I decided to take a trip to India, and just explore, travel a bit to an exotic country that I've never been to. And that definitely changed my life. I don't want to be like the guy that says, I went to India and found myself. It's just like, I know that sucks. But it was like, the experiences I got there did affect my life and my outlook on life. And I think my decision to go to India and like create a piece, whether it was good or bad, it's something that will change, or it has changed my career path. And but yeah, just to back up, I decided to go to India and perhaps work on a project about a tribe that I watched a documentary about a photographer's journey in India, and one of the tribes he was photographing are called the Agori Sadhus, and they're basically wandering monks that perform unusual rituals that are taboo to like Hindu people, to all people. Like they perform cannibalistic rituals. So yeah, to me that was super interesting. It was exotic. I was like, fuck, I really want to see these guys for myself, and just I wanted to be the guy that went out to India, or like went out to a strange country and made something cool. And I just wanted people to say that about me. But then when I actually got to India and I got to the city where I shot the documentary, I didn't care about that anymore, but I actually cared about this story. I wanted it to be genuine, and I didn't want it to be cool anymore. I mean, if it's cool, it's fine, but I don't give a fuck. But I just wanted to be as raw as possible, and I wanted them to tell their own story. It was so easy for me to like formulate something that would be so fucking badass, and just pay some people to do some cool stuff, not like cool as in like eating other humans, and I can, capturing that on camera. That would have went viral, and I could have got a lot more views than I actually did. But that wasn't the way to go for me, and I decided this isn't the way I wanted to, kick off my career or name or whatever you want to call it. Yeah, I just decided to make it as raw as possible. But again, backing up, I went to India, threw myself in this culture. It's like India is like a culture. It's just an explosion of colors and just religion and everything, and it's just so diverse and beautiful, and the people there are insanely. They're just so genuinely nice, spiritual and pure. I think I've had my fair share of trouble with religion, so I think in India I just loved how people weren't forced to do anything. You would see, I would get up in the morning as a photographer. I would get up in the morning to like get some really cool shots of the misty sunrise. It was foggy in that part of India. It's really misty and foggy in the morning. So yeah, I would get up at 4 or 5 a.m. and see like this 10-year-old kid, even younger, lighting a candle in a corner. He is not, not forced by any means to do what he's doing, but I think he genuinely wants to, perform this sort of ritual and get up and just do that. And to me, that was just a beautiful thing that I've never seen. To me, religion was like, forced down our throats. But yeah. So this is, that was like one of the things that caught my attention at first. And so I absorbed all that kind of energy and culture that I saw, especially in that city, Varanasi. And then I started pursuing this documentary or a short film that I made. So I started looking for subjects to talk to and interview or get on camera, take some photographs of. Um, and also one more interesting thing is when I got to Varanasi, I had no idea that cremation existed in Egypt, or even in America, all the places I've been to. I just know that people get buried after they die, And then I was in Nepal right before India, and that's when I first saw the cremation ceremony. So, like in Nepal, I would go with a bunch of friends I met at a hostel, and they're like, "We're going to the Ghats," and I'm like, "Okay, yeah, I'll come." So we would go to the Ghats. We would go to the Ghats, and then I would see I'd be like, "Is that a human body?" And then they'd be like, "Yeah," and I'd be like, "What the fuck's going on? Like, what's wrong with this?" I don't know. So that was my first ever experience was in Nepal, but then in Varanasi, they have the biggest cremation ground. I think in India, I'm not sure, but I think the biggest one is in that city. I saw hundreds of bodies. Death is all over the place, but also death is welcomed in Hinduism. They embrace it. Because the people are actually happy that the people that die in Varanasi get eternal salvation, and that's what they wish for. So the families are happy for their the families are actually happy for their dead. But yeah, that was one other shock I had, which was a kind of cool cultural shock. Then I got to the Agori Sadhus, a whole different chapter of my life where I pursued these cannibalistic guys that have existed for centuries. The Agori is a very well-respected religious sect in India. They're feared. People do not interact with them because to Hindus, Agori can perform black magic. Some people say that whatever they wish for, it just happens. If they cast a spell on you, some people say that they're they just do all. Some people say they're allowed 11 murders or something, and that are forgiven by Lord Shiva. So I pursued that film, and at first I wasn't able to make contact with any of them. I couldn't find any of them, which was good, because the thing is, if I went for any guy that said he was a Agori, I would, there were a lot of scam artists just trying to ask me for money to, again, make this cool movie. But real Agori do not show themselves. They're not dressed in, whatever, saying Agori or wearing horns or anything. They look like they live on the streets, they barely shower, they just believe in doing everything that's taboo. They would eat poop and drink pee, yeah. I just threw myself in that journey, and I was able to capture very raw moments of me doing stuff that I would have never imagined myself doing. My parents saw the movie, and I don't think they believed me when I told them I would be doing this. I told my dad not to tell my mom, but after they saw the movie, they were like, "What the hell were you doing out there?" And Mom, if you see this, I'm sorry. But yeah, it's just what I want to do. That's basically my I hope that will be all of my future, just exploring, getting to know different cultures, immersing myself in these cultures and learning about them. um, just to, I just have so much respect for all other cultures and people. I just want to listen and observe and learn, and that's, I guess I would call that my mission in life. Yeah. And yeah, I just always want to go out and explore. And I guess I would also say that the thing I want to do is like experience these moments that a very few people would have to, or like would get to experience. Is that good?